Thank you, Madam Chair. A very good morning to everyone and Swadee Krab. It is my privilege and pleasure to brief you about the outcomes of the 7th Asian and the Pacific Population Conference, or APPC. The representatives from 43 SCAP member states, civil society organizations, United Nations entities and international organizations actively participated in the conference co-organized by SCAP and UNFPA in Bangkok, Thailand last year. The review of the implementation of the Asian and Pacific Ministerial Declaration and on Population and Development and ICPD Program of Action apparently indicated that the region has made much progress in reducing poverty, providing access to education, healthcare, nutrition, sanitation, and housing. Life expectancy at birth has increased from 65 to 78 years. At the same time, fertility has fallen from about 2.7 to 1.9 children per woman. Often these changes occurred rapidly, but nevertheless, progress has been uneven, and the benefits have not been proportionally shared. Women participation in labor force has been declining in parts of the region. Access to sexual and reproductive health and rights is still a distant goal in several countries. The emerging global complex shocks, including adverse impacts of climate change, disasters, COVID-19 pandemic, and digital transformation, have also exacerbated the socio-economic inequalities and vulnerabilities in the region. It is obvious that the urgent action is crucially required, and we must act now. In this regard, SCAP member states reaffirmed our commitment to ICPD Program of Action. And for the second question, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, it is imperative to underscore the speed of the scale of the demographic transitions in Asia and the Pacific, and we are speedy. Moreover, in light of the sheer number of people living in our regions, what happened there will undoubtedly shape the trends of the global level. It is projected that by 2050, 1 in 7 people in the world will be an older person from the Asia and the Pacific region. The great challenge for many countries in the region is that the population will get old before it gets rich. Unfortunately, it's not vice versa. And again, I would like to reiterate that we cannot wait for the undesired consequences before it happens. And let me share some experiences in this regard. Depending on the speed of the aging and the level of development, some countries have already increased retirement age. Others have provided access to universal health care. Some countries have introduced long-term care insurance and building care system, either paid or unpaid care, of course, mostly performed by women, is recognized as a precious tool in encouraging the current demographic trends in many countries. Lifelong learning courses as well as reskilling and upskilling the workforce are preferred methods for others. Much focus in Asia and the Pacific is at the community level, including families. And fostering intergenerational solidarity is the key to ensure that no one is left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, as the chair of the 7th APPC, I would like to ensure that we, the member states, together with our stakeholders, including the civil society organizations, will continue our collective endeavor to balance the population and economic growth towards the goal of sustainable development. Pursuing a right-based, people-centered, and evidence-based approach with data and demographic foresight will be at the core of our way forward, and we seriously are determined to protect the rights and choices of women and girls. And above all else, we promise to pave the way towards a brighter and more sustainable future for all. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
Muchísimas gracias, señor ministro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's evident that climate change poses a profound existential threat for Asia and the Pacific, with the potential to disrupt decades of progress that we have assiduously built. Moreover, its adverse impact will burden future generations with the costs of unsustainable economic development. Now, according to the World Risk Index in 2023, 7 out of 10 most disaster-prone countries in the world are in the Asia-Pacific. Just an example, ladies and gentlemen, last week, South and Southeast Asia, we were hit by extreme heat wave in which temperature has reached 45 degrees Celsius with a heat index of 52 degrees. 52 degrees, ladies and gentlemen, that's half the boiling point. And on the other hand, the region's contribution to the global CO2 emission has increased from 1/4 to 1/2 in the past 3 decades. In this connection, I urge that neither any single country nor region can tackle this challenge alone. It is a global citizen's responsibility to the current and future generations, which seriously required immediate attention. I underscore that climate change agenda, both mitigation and adaptation, needs to be integrated and enhanced as part of the plan of action for people, population, and development. And for Asia and Pacific, I would suggest that we need to do a few things. One, we need to strive to swiftly move towards the net zero emission through a just transition as tailored to each national circumstances. And two, we need to invest in climate resilience development, emphasized on adaptation and risk reduction. This is indeed very essential. Why? Well, because most of the population in the region are so vulnerable to the adverse impacts of climate change, as most of them live their lives along the low-lying coastline or riverbanks or hillsides or in urban slum or even in the informal settlement. Now, to ensure that human development is not jeopardized and our population still has the opportunity to thrive in the place where they live, adaptation measures in human settlement are prerequisite. Of course, there can be no one-size-fits-all solution, but appropriate infrastructure design, particularly water services and housing, as well as ecosystem-based measure, should be momentous priority. Both recommendations demand a powerful foresight, science-based policy, and prudent financial strategy that supports impactful investment. Now, many countries in the region are developing countries. New additional, predictable, and adequate climate finance resources committed by the developed countries under the UNFCCC is the crucial key to the success. And all stakeholders, particularly the vulnerable groups, must be consulted and have a voice through the process of policy formulation and implementation. Private sectors must also be applicably engaged. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, building awareness and changing mindsets of the people of all ages must be at the heart of our action in addressing the climate change. And I would like to reiterate that climate change is real, and it is happening right now as we speak. According to the paleontology information, we are confronting with the catastrophe which could possibly bring us towards the big sixth mass extinction. Without active participation and actions of every single global citizen everywhere, we, the human race, will be the loser of this fight. In this regard, the region stands ready to collaborate with all regions, civil society organizations, and international organizations in this effort, because only together we, human race, can survive. Thank you very much, and ขอบคุณครับ
Muchísimas gracias.
I think problems that our world is facing right now, especially on the topic that I have just mentioned regarding the demographic change, which is happening everywhere, not just in Asia and the Pacific, as well as the climate change. I think it's putting human race and every one of us at an equal playing ground. In moving forward, I think no single government agency, both domestic and international, we cannot work alone. A true cooperation, and it's not just talk, but we really need to put our actions where our words is. As for Thailand, I can ensure and guarantee that every single one of us right here that we do walk the talk. We follow up on what we promise, and we tend to deliver what we promise. And I do call upon all the our relevant partners, both near and afar, to join us on this journey to fight a very, very serious problem that is facing us in less than a decade when we talk about demographic change. When we talk about climate change, it's a few more decades, but let's not put all the burden on our future generations. I believe we really need to do it now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but now. And anything is possible when we do it together. So I would like to, well, wish you all and us actually a great success, and let's get on with it. Thank you very much.
Indeed, let's get on with it. Thank you very much. Let's do it now.